listening to
Hey, MFM. See you on the lips.
Back attack, dude.
Bon Voyage!
Hey, yo, homies, good.
Slide down them big hills, you know what I mean, on the big, nice burgundy snowboard.
All right, we are excited about today's episode of The Bomb Hole, which is presented by Run Through a Wall Smelling Salts, the best smelling salts on the market, as we all know. And we got an exciting episode. To my right, co-hosting, we got Fancy Rutherford. What's happening, Fancy?
Hey, everybody. I'm super excited to be here. What's up, Chris?
Glad you're here. Drove down from Tahoe to do the episode.
Made the trek.
Respect. Love that. And then we got our producer, Silk D, back there, and Brandon Cocard in studio today. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
I didn't get headphones.
Yeah. Budget's a little tight, Cocard.
Okay.
Budget's a little tight.
I just hit a smelling salt, though, so I'm ready to go.
He's got a soothing voice, doesn't he?
So calming. So
Made for the
calming.
radio.
Made for radio. And to my left, the guest of the day. Today we got Taylor Elliott in studio. We're excited. What's happening, Taylor?
Just happy to be here. Yeah, thanks for having me. This is a big honor.
Well, we are honored that you're here. I also want to let our audience know that we are on take 2 because we had some audio malfunctions, but thanks, Cocard solved our problems. XLR technician.
Yep, just the old plug and replug and figure it out.
When in doubt, jiggle some wires. You know? And for our listeners that aren't unfamiliar with Taylor Elliott, I got a quick little intro. Now, Taylor is an incredible snowboarder that has been putting out A-grade tricks for a long time. You may have seen her footage in Too Hard, Uninvited, or her latest film, Here For You. Her story is truly empowering. She battled with sobriety and even more recently has been diagnosed with MS, multiple sclerosis, and her resilience, her mindset, and her attitude is one of the most inspiring things I've ever witnessed. This is going to be a special chat, but let's get into it because there's another little fun fact that a lot of people don't know, and it's that you are a triplet, and that is insane, and I would love to hear you elaborate on that.
Yeah, triplet. You're born with two best friends, ride or die, through and through. It's a powerful thing, you know?
Should we give him an air horn?
Absolutely.
Little 3-pack Shakur. Amazing. Well, while we're talking triplets, one of your sisters, Kendall, submitted a question, so let's just fire that off right out of the gate.
Hi, Tay. It's me, Kendall. I had a question for you, and I was wondering how you would personally describe being a triplet and the bond the three of us have to other people.
Hey, Kenny. Love you. The bond, you know, it's really special. It's powerful. You're born with two people that have your back no matter what, through everything. And someone you can call and talk anything through at all times. And, you know, we also have like a little bit of a rivalry, but it just like encourages all of us to want to be better people at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. And you have a brother as well. So at one point there was 4 toddlers in diapers, right?
Yeah, my parents. My brother is 13 months older than us, so my parents had 4 babies all at once, running around screaming.
That's a lot of diapers.
Yeah,
That's a lot of diapers.
Shout out Sam. Isn't it his birthday today?
It is his birthday today. Happy birthday, Sam. I love you.
Amazing. Love that. And so where did you grow up originally?
Kewaskum, Wisconsin. It's a small village in Wisconsin. About 3,000 people live there.
So it's a village, like not a town.
Not a town. It's a village. Yeah. I think we were the majority of the town was our family.
Amazing. And so what resort did you grow up snowboarding at?
Sunburst Ski Hill.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what's the vertical? What are we talking? Give us the stats on Sunburst.
So Sunburst Ski Hill, 300 feet tall, and we got 2 chairlifts and 2 rope tows. Yeah, and a park, which is all you need.
And you and your sisters are kind of put absolute beat downs on the steel. So is that where you guys sharpened your skills on the rails?
Yeah, I mean, you could get 100 laps in 2 hours, you know? And just chucking the gnarliest trick on ice, no fear, and eating shit. Going again, I don't know.
Amazing. So I want to hear about your guys' rivalry, like coming up. Like you guys must have pushed each other like crazy.
For sure, absolutely. I mean, you know, our class in like USASA, it was just us competing against each other. So, you know, it was like if my sister learned a trick, I would want to learn that trick and one up them for the next contest, you know? It was constant. Or, you know, they would go one day without you and then you'd be like, how did you learn that trick? That's insane. Like, and then you would work on it all day and then whoever could win that weekend, like, I don't know. It was insane, but awesome. Really pushed each other, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Tay, who won the first contest you guys were ever in?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Must not have been you.
I mean, it might have been.
Sounds like she got a podium, though, no matter what.
Right.
We all got podiums.
Yeah.
For sure.
Now, I know Fancy could probably relate to this, too, but I've spent some time with the three-pack, the squad. The energy when you guys all get together and, like, your guys' voices are similar and your energy, it is, like, it's electric.
It's chaos.
Yes.
It's pure chaos. I would say electric, but mostly chaotic.
Beautiful chaos.
Beautiful chaos.
Yeah.
Harmonious chaos filled with mostly chaos.
And you throw a few, like, dogs in the mix. And
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
big
we all
dogs.
have dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, big dogs. Mm-hmm. I have a small dog now, but at one point we all had very big dogs. And so anywhere we would go, it was all three of us and three of our big dogs running shit.
Kind of like, just like the chaos is like a cloud of like dog hair behind all of you guys all the time when you're together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, just one big blur of, like, the Elliots and dogs. And just, you're
Yeah.
like, I don't know what just happened, but I liked it. And it was a
Yeah.
good time.
In
Right.
one car, absolute clown mobile, you know?
And it's not often anymore, I feel like, that the three of you are together. So it's a really special thing that not everybody gets to enjoy.
Yeah, 100%. I have people now in my life that don't know I'm a triplet, which is crazy because we've always been so one unit, you know, and I feel like a lot of people know us as the triplets. It was kind of hard to break through and have our individual identities, you know. But now it's pretty amazing to see where all of us have gone and where we've gone and what we've accomplished. And, you know, it's interesting to watch our paths unfold.
I'm curious. I'm going to go deep for a quick second here.
Okay.
Now, I've heard this thing where, like, twins, sometimes they can, like, something happens to their brother or their sister and they, like, feel it even though they're in a different state. Is that a real thing? Have you ever experienced any of that kind of weird clairvoyance?
I wouldn't call it clairvoyance. I would call it more like you have an instinct. Like you just know each other so well. Where, you know, I mean, more if I'm like on the phone with them, I know like immediately like what's going on, you know, what's wrong. And if we're in the room, I can see them having a conversation across the way. And I'm like, oh, I need to go intervene. I know that something's wrong, you know? Or if someone's injured or something, like sometimes you'll get that feeling, but it's not as big of a deal as you would think.
That's cool. Well, I mean, I think it's a good time to maybe do a round of smelling salts, run through a wall. Maybe the production crew over there could pop one off, start it off.
Yeah, we'll get it started back here.
So, let's turn your mic up. Sorry, Silk D. Let's get your guys' mic going.
Wow.
Go for the second one. Get in there. Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Yeah. He said he loves them.
Yeah, they're great. They're great. I agree, Kokar. They are really good. Okay, I'll get it. Oh, God. Wow, that's great. Oh, stings the nostrils.
Are we doing this?
I'll
Have
try.
you ever hit one, Fancy?
No, I've never hit one.
Just kind of squeeze it and give it a quick little...
Squeeze it. Kind of like a crushed cigarette?
Exactly.
All right.
The old menthol crushes. Okay, that was respectable.
I think I can smell it from over here.
Just ease into it. I popped it for you. Sorry to take the fun away. I already popped it. She went in. I'm sorry. Dave.
Christ. I get it now. I get the reaction.
Oh my God,
I
Dave.
thought I was.
Oh my
I thought I
God,
was.
Just went in.
That was a. Hey, that gets you going.
Holy smokes.
Good morning.
All right.
All right.
There's liquid coming out of my eyeballs.
Yeah. Now it's a podcast.
Here we are.
Now we're rolling.
Woo!
So let's just dive right in because we got all kinds of stuff to talk about, whether it's snowboarding, videos, sobriety, MS. But I think we should just start by talking about MS and your journey and how that came to be when you got diagnosed and just start there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, I'd been feeling a lot of weird symptoms over the years, but I was kind of ignoring them. I think as a snowboarder, I kind of had this idea that all those things, if you're not in pain, you're not doing it right. And then, later on, now I come to realize that I think that has a lot to do with, it was actually MS symptoms coming on early on. And, a lot of migraines, a lot of weird tingling in my hands and things like that. And then March 30th, I noticed that my eye was blurry. I was at the grocery store. And I called Brandon, and I was like, I can't see very good out of my eye. And he was like, well, why don't you just, go to the eye doctor? And I called the eye doctor, and they were like, we can get you in 30 minutes. And I was kind of like, oh, can't be that serious. And then, it turns out, went to the eye doctor. He said he thinks I have optic neuritis, which is a beginning sign of having MS. It's an early on symptom. And then got an MRI, and then the next day I got diagnosed with optic neuritis. And basically I left. He told me you have a 76% chance of having or developing multiple sclerosis. And later on that week, I went completely blind in my right eye. I think it lasted about a month and a half. But it was just crazy. I was still in snowboard mode. Like, I didn't really care. I mean, it affected me. I was scared. But it wasn't the end of the world for me. I thought, if I have MS, people don't go disabled for years. I'll live a whole life. I'll have an entire career. I'll still be able to continue filming. And, then went to the uninvited event. It was 2 weeks later. And I had about 30% vision. And I was a day late to the event because I had to get this steroid treatment before I could go, like to try to get my vision back. And then went to the event, I felt great. But the day after, the 2 days of the event, I noticed I couldn't recover very well. And I was walking a little funny, but I didn't think anything of it. I was still planning on filming and doing everything I planned on doing. Like, it wasn't going to stop. I wasn't going to stop living my life. I just didn't think it would affect me. I'd get my vision back and I'd be fine. And then I think it was 2 weeks later, I went to Woodward just for fun. And I snowboarded all day, and then I got super overheated after it was a hot day out, and all of a sudden my legs were really shaky, and I could barely walk, and my whole body was doing this thing, and I was like scared, but still in denial. I was like, it's not in my spinal cord, like it can't be. And then that was my first bout of like, okay, maybe it is, maybe it's not, and then called the neurologist, and they said, oh, that's usually because you have a lesion in your spinal cord. But I didn't have a diagnosis yet. I didn't think I had MS. It was not diagnosable. So the diagnosis period was months of testing and MRIs and a lumbar puncture and all these things. And it was a waiting game. And then I went to the Peace Park event. And then I snowboarded all day. It was fine when I was strapped in. And when I unstrapped, I needed help walking. I couldn't walk. Right. I was walking funny. And then the last day, snowboarded super hard. And I knew something was wrong at that point. But I was still like, I'm going to finish out my season. I don't care. And then the last day, I made it down the tram. But I knew I was going downhill. Something was seriously wrong. And I had to get wheelchaired out of there, and it was like, it was terrifying because that was the moment that was like, fuck, my season is over. I do have MS, and I didn't have a diagnosis, so it was a lot of what ifs. Am I going paralyzed? It was a lot of unknowns of that, of where is this going? And then fast forward, a couple weeks, just peak flare up, still no diagnosis. So when I was in the peak of this, it was a lot of unknowns. I didn't know if I had MS. I didn't know if I had another disease. There was a moment where they thought I had syringomyelia, which would have been guaranteed paralysis at some point. And it would have meant no snowboarding at all. Like, there wasn't going to be any snowboarding. So, there was a lot of fear at that time. But I still had it in me. Like, I was like, I'm not going to accept that my life is over. And I dove into research and dove into meditation and journaling and painting. It was just, I was battling to stay in the present without even really, I had found acceptance at that point, but I didn't have a diagnosis. So then when I got a diagnosis, end of July, honestly, it came as a relief because okay, I know what this is. I'm not going paralyzed. And I'll take that as a win, you know? I mean, I could go forever about it, you know?
One thing would be interesting to talk about too is like, what is MS for people that are unfamiliar?
So multiple sclerosis is a lifelong neurological condition that affects your central nervous system. So basically, your brain and your spinal cord. And what's happening is, so you have these nerves that have protective coating. It's called a myelin sheath. What's happening is your immune system is attacking the myelin sheath of your nerves, causing a disconnect. So, you know, it's like, it's just things are happening where like your nerves are not connecting to your body. And then depending on where the damage is, that's where your symptoms arise. And every single person's disease course is so different and unique to themselves. So I can't compare my story to anyone else's, and they can't compare theirs to mine, if that makes sense.
And it's currently, there's no cure for MS, right?
No, there's no cure. There's treatment. The treatment, it doesn't fix the damage that's already been done after the flare-up. I'm on this medication called Briumvi, and every 6 months I get an infusion. And so how I would explain it is basically, you know how a cancer patient, they go through chemo and it removes their entire immune system. So what my treatment does is it removes part of it, like the B cells, like the overreactive part of my immune system that's causing the damage. And so the goal of the treatment is to prevent disease spread or to slow it down. There's no way to get back what I've lost, basically, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm also curious. So you mentioned, all right, so you're like, I've been sore and like having symptoms for a while. I thought it was normal. Are we talking like a couple months? We talking like a year? How long do you think, when do you think your body started to kind of like show symptoms before when you actually, you know, took a look at it?
I would say 2016 is when I noticed I was having migraines, bouts of migraines for weeks on end, and there was no way to fix them. And weird numbness and tingling, and then progress a few years later. It was like if I put my feet in cold water, it felt like I was standing on pins and needles, like there was nails in my feet. And I couldn't circulate, like I was getting really cold really fast, or, you know, it was hard to regulate my temperature, and my hands would go numb, and I'd wake up in the morning after sleeping and my ear would be numb and tingling. And but, you know, then I would talk to my friends and say, hey, this happens to you, right? And they were like, no. I was like, nah. My one friend was like, you should go to a neurologist. I was like, nah, we're good. I gotta make this movie real quick. We're good.
Yeah. So back when we were filming for Too Hard, we took a road trip from Tahoe to both of our parents' homes, which was Illinois and Wisconsin. And Taylor was having serious back pain at that time. Mm-hmm. And do you think that back pain might have been related?
Yeah, there's a lot of unknown, you know. So when the MRIs, you look at the MRIs, I have 5 lesions in my brain that are, and most of them are not active, meaning that's history of damage. And that being said, it could be getting a concussion. There could be other explanations for it, but I have 5 points in my history of my brain where there's been damage being done, and at least some of them have been multiple sclerosis damage. So it really is hard to say. I mean, I really ignored all of the things that was happening to my body for a really long time. And I thought everybody was in that much pain snowboarding. I thought everybody had to do an hour of yoga just to get out of, like, just to go snowboarding. You know, I just thought it was normal. I thought everyone had migraines. I thought everybody couldn't feel their hands. I thought everyone's hands did this. Yeah, you know, it could have been.
Yeah.
It's hard to pinpoint.
Yeah.
Well, an interesting part of your journey, too, to kind of back it up a little bit in chronological order is like, you know, I spent a lot of time with your guys' squad in a kind of our early 20s, and like we were partying and we were having a good time. Mm-hmm. And you know, at a certain point in time, you made a change, and I'd love to hear you elaborate on why you made a change towards sobriety, which ultimately helped you kind of battle this MS as well, right? You
know, I had been partying a bunch. I think I have a family of my family has alcoholism that runs down the line, and I had been partying a bunch. I thought that was part of snowboarding. I just thought that's what you did, and it was, it was a huge part of snowboarding. And then I met Brandon, and we partied, and then shout out Brandon, love of my life. We partied, and then eventually, like, I'd been sober curious. Our dog got sick, and then our dog passed away. And I partied after that because I didn't know what else to do. I couldn't handle the grief. Like, I had never faced anything like that before. For me, that was my first real experience with grief. And so I went on a bender. It was like 10 days. I was out at Fancy and Keith's house, actually, to recuperate, I guess, or just get out of our own house. And then 10 days in, I woke up from a bender, went back to their house and met up with them, and I just had this moment of like, I don't want to feel like this. I have two choices in my life. I need to, like, one of them, I'm going to continue trying to find people at the bar to support me through my loss. And, I also had this realization, like, I've never looked at myself or taken the moment to try to self-heal or to face my problems at hand. I had never done that. And it was that moment that, 10 days in after my bender, I was like, I gotta make a change. And, and a lot of my sobriety came out of, like, my own self-hatred. And I felt like I'd failed my dog. And I think these are natural occurrences with grief. You hold on to a lot of guilt. But for me, that was, like, the final thing that led me into wanting to go sober. And I'd been sober curious and, talked to my friends and family, especially Fancy and Brandon, about it before. But that moment I woke up, I'd never felt worse in my life. I'd never felt more sad. And then, then I just, like, white-knuckled sobriety and wouldn't accept help and fucking went through it. It wasn't easy. It was ugly. For the first time in my life, I had to look at my trauma and who I was as a person and my flaws and my ego, and I had to break it apart. And now I'm over 2 years sober. So
Yeah.
That's gangster shit.
yeah.
I mean, let's lean into that, though. I'd like to lean into that process of, like, okay, your first 6 months, you mentioned you were white knuckling and just don't drink, but you're kind of miserable is how I interpret that.
Yeah.
You're just physically not drinking, but you're not okay per se,
Yeah.
but you're not pouring. Also, Silk is sober in here.
Yeah, coming up on a year and a half.
No way.
and a
That's
little bit.
amazing.
That's
Brad,
something like
hell
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'm sober. Are you still?
I am very sober.
Yeah. So this is.
This is kind of insane.
This is just
Yeah,
kind of like
yeah.
something that is just, didn't even think about it, but it's interesting. Okay, to continue though, you're talking about white knuckling it, and then I'd love to just kind of like lean into that whole process of what worked for you. Because a lot of people, when you mention publicly when you're sober, there's a lot of people, like you said, that are curious. How do I do this? I'm thinking about doing it. I'm thinking about making a change. I'd love you to kind of lend some advice to that.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend going the route I went. Ask for help. People care. People are there for you. There is a sober community of people who really will show up. And I think I had so much shame and guilt and felt like I'd failed drinking. I'd failed. And so that kept me sober the first 6 months. But with that came a lot of dark thoughts, depression, and I didn't drink, but it was a bitch. And then I think it was like 6 months in, I don't know where I went. I was somewhere and I had this moment of like, wow, I feel really peaceful. I feel good. I feel empowered. I made it 6 months sober. Like, that's crazy. And then from there, it just leaned into like more of a wellness practice and started dabbling with meditation and yoga and just things that I could try to stay in the present. And because I'd just come out of this depression and I was like, anything I can do to not go back to that. And, I think, and then year hit and it was just like, I had found this like peacefulness in myself and this gratefulness for life, and that life is beautiful and I deserve to be here,
Cool. So do you feel like when you unpacked some of the things that were causing you shame and guilt and like kind of lower vibrations, you could say, that when you kind of started feeling like that made you feel good and then it made it easier not to drink?
Yeah. Like when I really took a look at the flaws and I invited them to the table, and I slowly started to accept myself and this new version of myself and found self-love.
Yeah.
Boom. There it is. Gangster shit. Okay, and then so, talking about the sobriety, let's just fucking lean into it because I think it's a fun topic. You got anything to add to that, Fancy?
I mean, I'm 27 years old, and I've been sober. I've been sober for 22 years. I'm not 27, by the way.
Oh, okay. I was like thinking to myself, damn, you were drinking when you were 5? That's
Feel 27. No, I've been sober for 22 years, and I just feel so lucky now, right? Like I understand like the hurdles of like coming to terms with your sobriety and coming to terms with yourself. But once you find that, like Taylor has, and I think like you have too, Chris, like, God, it's like I wake up very often and think like, I just feel really lucky. Like I feel like I wish I could share this with more people. And I feel like I didn't really share it with that many people. I only shared it with my close circle. And I love that Taylor is so open about it and is showing another way of life to a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And just judging on, I don't know if people ever reach out to you, but like it's a common message that people send to me. And it's like, if you make a change and somebody else makes a change, then you could save somebody's life or whatever, I think it's important stuff to talk about. It's a fine line because there's some, we have our friends like, I don't want you to be preachy. Shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear that, but there are people out there that, and I think another thing too is like to highlight what you said, like that 10-day bender, you hit that kind of rock bottom, so to speak. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing when you get miserable enough to make a fucking change. Like that's a beautiful thing. It's not something to have shame about. It's like, I finally like walking that line forever. And it's like, it's nice when you're just like, oh, this isn't working. Let's make a change.
Yeah. I'm so grateful for that bender. I am. I really am. And then I had Fancy and Brandon and Keith around me after my bender, and they held no judgment. And I think that hurt more because I was like, I know I'm letting the people I love down, But yeah, it's not easy, and there is a sober community out there that is amazing and powerful, and lean into it if you wish.
And also, I think Fancy said on the phone yesterday, like you mentioned, like you don't know how well you would have been able to deal with this MS situation without getting sober. Like that built a foundation for you to be able to handle.
Yeah, 100%. I had the tools. I had the toolbox. I had built the toolbox. So when this happened, this diagnosis, like if I had been drinking, I don't think it would have gone very well. But I already had the toolbox, and I have faced adversity in my life before. So going through the motions of getting this diagnosis, I wasn't left hanging up to dry. Like I knew what I had to do. I knew that I had to like truly take a minute and sit with myself and use it as an opportunity to learn and grow about who I am and what this means and what good can come of it. Like we were talking about yesterday, it's happening for me, not to me, and just finding gratefulness every single day in my life with the MS and with being a disabled person, and finding acceptance through that. I'm not my ability. I'm not just a snowboarder. I'm not just a sober person. Those things have all defined the person I've become today. And, and I'm not an MS diagnosis, but like these things have all made me into who I am today. And, all of the things that have happened in my life have been a gift leading to this moment to like, I'm not going to let this affect me. I'm not going to let this make me stop living my life. I still have goals and aspirations and dreams. Like just because I have MS doesn't mean my life stops and my aspirations go away. And Yeah.
I don't think that anybody knows how truly you mean the words that you're saying. And I think that it's really inspiring, right? Like, you have faced adversity, and you have done a fucking incredible job.
Thank you, fans.
Yeah.
It means a lot.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break and talk about one of my favorite places to snowboard, Mammoth Mountain. Now, they're coming off a record-breaking year last year. They got 715 inches at the base, and they were open until August 6th. They got some upcoming events coming up. They got the Grand Prix, January 31st to February 3rd. You can watch some of the best snowboarders in the world chuck roast. You want to see some 1800s and some impressive slope style and half-pipe riding? Check out the Grand Prix. Always check out mammothmountain.com for updates on the mountains and deals and all things Mammoth. And let's talk about the mountain itself. They got everything you need. You want to ride big mountain terrain. You want to ride some chutes, some cornices. You want to get rowdy and pretend you're Big Mountain Jeremy Jones. Well, you can do it there. They also have incredible snowboard parks. The Unbound Terrain Park crew is the best. They got 10 parks, 100+ rails, 40+ jumps at any time, a mini pipe, a mega pipe, countless transition features. It's a good place to go if you want to get really good at snowboarding. And if you get really good, you can ride Main Park. That's where the big dogs go to eat. And the jumps are just built so well. If you ride bad jumps, you feel bad at snowboarding. When you ride good jumps, you feel like a golden god out there. They also got South Park, which is pretty big, a little bit more on the intermediate side. Really fun park laps if you want to go there. Or one of my favorite warm-up laps, the old Forest Trail. You know, you got a nice pack of jumps, good for some 540s. So they got parks for all ability levels, all across the board, whether you're Dusty Hendrickson or you're just trying to learn your first 180. Check out Mammoth Mountain. They are a supporter of the show, and we always have a blast when we go there. And you mentioned earlier the tools in the toolbox, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, going back to what happened for me, like you had your, bender, you lose Rue, your dog, all these things kind of set you up to where you're at now. Like, if it's like almost like building blocks to get to where you are. If that's your mindset. The other mindset could be like, how could this happen? Like, how could this happen? What the fuck? What's going on? And I think like what I see in a lot of people struggling is like lack of acceptance. Mm-hmm. And I think like adversity helps with acceptance. But I would like to go back to my original question and ask you about the tools in the toolbox.
Yeah. For me, the tools have been meditation, staying in the present. I got super into painting for a bit when I got this diagnosis, and breath work and Qigong. Qigong's been amazing. It's like 3,000 years older than Tai Chi, so it's like a version of Tai Chi, or Tai Chi's a version of Qigong, and just battling to stay in the present. I mean, as soon as I, if I'm not in the present, suddenly I'm in the headspace of fear of the future and anger of the past. And, that's something that you don't want to live there. Like this disease is so unpredictable. I don't know what my life will look like tomorrow, a year from now, 10 years from now. I have no idea. So it's like staying in the present and finding gratefulness in every moment and having the abilities I still have and hopefully will have forever, but there is no understanding of my future. So I have to just battling for the present and doing anything I can to stay there.
I heard you mentioned to me yesterday a very powerful breathwork session that you had, and I would love to hear you elaborate about that.
Yeah. So this was probably 5 days into going blind in my right eye, and I went to breathwork with Leah, and so I didn't expect anything of it. It was a breathwork sound bath class, and I didn't have expectations. Like I was like, this will at least be meditative, and then I went there, and suddenly, while I was laying on the mat, doing the breath work, I was living through all of the symptoms that I hadn't yet experienced on the mat. I was seeing them clearly, and I was seeing myself losing my ability to walk. I was seeing, the tremor. I was seeing all of it. I lived through every symptom that I've had now in that moment. And this was 5 days after I lost my vision. So a part of me went through a lot of acceptance there because, you know, I would like to call them my spirit guides. There was like, you know, my spirit guides were there in this moment, and it's hard to explain because it's when you're in that space, it's like if you reach like an amazing meditation, right? If you like get to this place. So like my spirit guides were there and they were showing me, and it started, I had to, first of all, admit I was terrified. And, you know, this was all part of this process. Admit I was terrified. And then I experienced all the symptoms. And then I experienced the grief also. You know, I was bawling my eyes out on the mat. And then after that, it was like the most beautiful serendipitous thing that happened. Like my spirit guides are this amazing light form, like was healing my body and helping me with acceptance. And it was like a full body scan of healing. And part of the lesson there that I call them my spirit guides, told like that they shared with me was, you need to go through this before you can become the person that you're truly meant to be in the world. Which, I mean, it really resonated with me, that I found a lot of acceptance right then and there. I knew I was going to have this diagnosis, like, you know, and there was a lot of fear after of the unknown, but in my heart, I knew it was coming and I knew what my future held to some degree.
That's some beautiful, mystical shit right there, okay? And so, just for the listeners that are unfamiliar, like you're doing deep breath, right? You're
Yeah. Yeah.
like, and you, after doing that for 30 minutes, you kind of get to this deep mystical place, and that's where you had your experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, did that make you kind of be like, okay, I'm gonna go inward because you know I'm gonna keep going towards this.
Yeah.
Have you been on that journey since?
Yeah. I mean, I knew that this was the path that was laid out for me in that moment. I knew that this was meant for me, and this is something I have to endure, and something that I also would like to endure with peacefulness and love and gratefulness towards my life, and if that makes sense.
Wow. I just think it's so beautiful how you've navigated the situation, because the same thing could happen to another person, and it could be a really, really clunky, messy, and not to say that you haven't gone through that, but like I just admire your acceptance and your grace and your way you've been handling this by going inward for the answers, not reaching for externals. Like you're just, it's beautiful. So
Thank you. You know, a lot of it was a ego, I would say ego rebirth. You lose your abilities. Suddenly I'm facing a disability that might be lifelong. And so I feel like when you get to something like that in your life, you don't really have a choice. At least for me, I didn't feel I had a choice but to really break down my own ego and my external validation. You know, I really had to break that apart and then rebuild it. Because, you know, suddenly I'm not my ability. I'm not just a snowboarder now. You know, I'm someone with a disability. And, you know, disability is new for me. You know, I'm only 9 months in, but it's life. I mean, it's life-changing for anybody, but it's something, you know, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, everybody puts me in a box that's breakable. Says, you're in this box. You have a disability. That's where you stay. And, you know, my life is full of can'ts. You can't snowboard. You can't drive. You can't do all of the things you love to do. And I'm not living in that reality. I'm not going to live in a breakable box for the rest of my life. I can snowboard. Does it look different? Absolutely. But I'm going to do it. I can drive. Is it a little scary? Yeah, probably. Maybe more for everyone else on the road. But you know, like I'm going to achieve everything I set out to do. And will it look different? Yes. Have I accepted that? Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, I think it's just so important. Don't put people who walk different or who can't walk or who have disabilities in a box, because we're all living our lives and living in it as authentically as we can. And when things happen to us, we don't just stop living. my life isn't over. And I'm sorry if you feel that way, but I'm fucking here to stay, you know? Like, and I'm going to do the things I'm going to do, and I'm going to love them. And I have so much more appreciation for snowboarding than ever before. Like, it is, I mean, it's my why. It's my North Star. And all of the things I had thought before with ego and what tricks I had to learn and what I had to accomplish to be involved in the scene and be accepted and have brands support me and all of that. Fuck it all. I let it go. I don't care, because if I can snowboard, it's enough. It's fucking everything. And maybe I'll need help to the car, but I'm going to fucking do it, you know?
You're pretty unbelievable. If that doesn't impress us, I don't know. It's just, you're
best shit I ever heard on the show.
unbelievable.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's interesting, Tay, hearing you say it. I feel it. Like you're speaking from the heart, and I fucking feel it, and I love it, and it's interesting.
And look out.
Yeah, look the fuck out. You know, and you know, but this is a good. We have a guest question from Butters, and shout out to Butters. He's an absolute legend.
True.
Kind of pertains to what we're talking about. Here we go.
Hey, Tay, this is Brock. The other night when we were talking about your first day snowboarding this year, I felt the immense happiness and joy radiating from you. And I just thought it would be cool for you to share that story with the audience. I love you very much, and you are a true warrior and inspiration. Thank you.
Oh, love you, Butters. You're the best. Oh my God. It was amazing. You know, I'd been living in so much fear of the can'ts, and I had been so codependent on Brandon's help, especially because Brandon has been, you know, always there, you know, no doubt about it, you know, through and through. He's been an absolute angel through this whole thing. And, you know, I was like, okay, we're going to try to go snowboarding. And I didn't know what it was going to look like. I didn't know if I'd make it to the chairlift. And so I didn't really tell anyone about it. I was like, this might not go well. So nobody needs to know if I don't make it. And the night before, I was like, I'm not going. We're not fucking going. Like, I was more afraid of the failure of going than actually going. And then Brandon was like, we're fucking going. And I was like, okay, I guess so. And then, yeah, God, you know, it took me a minute. I couldn't connect. My feet couldn't connect to my boots. They were so clunky, and I walked funny, and part of me felt like, God, what am I doing here? And then, God, then we went up the chair, and then I strapped in, and the disability, like when I was moving, the disability was gone. Like, I was an able-bodied person, and I don't even have the words to explain it. It was like the best 30 seconds of my life. I mean, it was this thing that I thought I had lost, and it was there, and I could do it. And my body, like, it's easier than walking to snowboard, you know? And it was like the most powerful thing ever. Like, pure bliss, pure happiness, pure gratefulness. And after we went, like, I got 2 runs, and they were the best 2 fucking runs of my life. And then, I don't know, ever since then, I felt reborn. I was full of I cans again, you know? Like, I can fucking do it. And I felt like it helped me find my independence again. And, you know, just, it was everything. Yeah, it was everything.
Fuck, that's beautiful. Brandon, you were there for the experience. Do you want to chime in on?
Just borderline in tears listening to the recap. But yeah, it was a powerful day, just to see the smile on her face, and man, it was just truly beautiful.
Just bring a guest host on just to like bring tears into the room. So I'm here crying. So, but I just love it.
It's so good, and like you think about, you know, your job as a snowboarder is to inspire people to do things. You can do that in a multitude of ways. And I think about, we're a snowboard media company. I watch all the fucking videos. I'm just banged over the head with tricks all day long. You got Marcus Cleveland going bananas. Zoe, you know, all these Zoe, and it's like, wow, great, wow, that's crazy. Internet, people are doing crazy tricks. It's a freaking tidal wave of crazy tricks on the internet. But the video of you going and turning, and mind you, the turns looked good. They were like the Steve. Whoo, whoo. But that was the most powerful shit I've seen on the internet in fucking years. Like it's I love what you're saying, and it doesn't have to change because you're inspiring people as much as you ever could by just going and turning, because you feel something. It made us all feel something and feel for you. So you're inspiring everybody. It's fucking beautiful, Tay.
That's nice. You know, I think in the beginning it was so hard to navigate. Like, I think initially I thought, like, well, this flare-up's only going to last 3 months, and then I'm fucking good. We're good. Back to normal. Like, I'm going to film a part again. I'm going to do all these things. And then suddenly it was, you know, maybe 6 months in, I realized, like, oh, fuck, this might be a lifelong disability. It might not be, but it might be. And I had to go through a whole other acceptance process. And along with that came a mourning process, you know, of, wow, this is real. Like, it was real as fuck before, but it's more real now, because once I started to feel better, I was still disabled. And so, you know, that was like a whole nother mourning process. And I think going snowboarding that day, it all made sense again. Like, that mourning process and all of that, like, kind of came to a close, because it's like, oh yeah, this is my why. And I don't have to live in self-doubt and, you know, the fear of the unknowns. Like, I can just lean into what I love. And yeah, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it was a beautiful day.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. I'm kind of flashing back to, I think it was this summer. We had gone to my pool, which was awesome. And we had a conversation, and, you know, you were talking about the future, and you were talking about a vision, and you were talking about how you were going to snowboard again, and you were going to snowboard still. And that you're going to hit the Lawler ledge, I think.
Yeah, that is one unfinished job I'd like to accomplish one day.
But you did it. Like, you've done it. Like, you're it's so inspirational. Like, you had a goal, and you had a job, and you did it. Like, you fucking did it, and you're going to keep doing it. Like, I think, you know, we all have hurdles in our life, or in relationships, or job, or, oh, I didn't get to go snowboarding, or whatever. Like, it's so minuscule in comparison to, like, the achievements that you've made. And
thanks, Fans.
You know.
It means a lot. Fancy's my best friend, just so everybody knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, she knows me better than anyone in the world besides Brandon, you know? I mean, she's like one of my soulmates in life, and she's known me through all the things, all the highs, all the lows. So it means a lot to hear you say that. Thank you, Fans.
Yeah.
Another effect it has, too, on what you're doing is take an entitled prick like myself. When I go snowboarding, I'm like, it's Graybird. I don't want to. Let's just go down. Like, and then I watch this, and your appreciation for just wiggling and ripping some. You were not just like going down the hill. You were shredding, mind you. It has an effect on all of us, where you're like, hey, asshole, like, appreciate what you got. Go get some for the people that can't. Go get some, you know? And I think that's the feeling I get from it. It's like, fucking, you know, like, we gotta get it and be appreciative for getting it. So you're inspiring on a lot of levels deeper than, you know, just your personal journey. It's touching a lot of people.
Oh, that's really nice. You know, I think, you know, my experiences don't diminish anyone else's experiences. Like, what I'm going through doesn't diminish what someone else is experiencing. Like, every single person on earth is going to have incredible adversity in their lifetime, and things that truly hurt and make you question your reality and what you're doing and why. And I think, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, just find your gratefulness for what you're able to do. And I don't know, who cares what the people think about you doing it? Who fucking cares? Like, just do it because you love it. Because at the end of the day, snowboarding is just this piece of wood and plastic that we were like, yeah, I think this is going to be my life partner. And it's like, it's kind of silly, but like it's given everyone that we know who's a snowboarder a why. And like this thing to like, it's like everyone's North Star, you know? And I think everyone is so much closer to having one cell change. You're one cell change away from something like this happening to you, you know? And that's the reality. So live it like it's your last and love it and appreciate it and be fucking nice to everybody. Be nice to people because you don't know what they're fucking going through. You know, like mine's visible. You can see what I'm going through. But it doesn't diminish that people are going through invisible battles, you know, and I think that's just important to touch on, you know.
Absolutely. And then to go even another layer deeper too, it's like, you know, there's a lot of people that are hurting and kind of living unconsciously, and the reality is that people that are hurting are the ones that are mean to others. Like hurt people hurt others, and so you can have empathy. If somebody's being really mean, you can be like, damn, you gotta be hurting down beneath that, and you can have empathy for people that are being mean because you know that they're not in a good place in the sense. And it's like people that love themselves love others.
Yeah.
People that hate themselves hate others. And I think that like what you're doing is like going to the root of like you said, loving yourself, going inward, finding peace, even though you're in a place that is the hardest to find peace. And people are going to listen to you when you talk about it because you are dealing with adversity on the highest level. And so we all want to know, how do we be okay? Mm-hmm. And we're looking to you, and you're doing a great job.
That's nice. There's no roadmap to it. Just start by sitting with yourself in silence, and just, that's going to suck too, by the way. In the beginning, you're like, oh God, I don't want to go into that. Like, I don't want to look there because it hurts. You know, but once you start to unpack those things, you can truly take a look at yourself and you know, sit with the things that have caused you pain, invite it to the table, and then let it go and say, you know, thanks for coming to dinner, but I have other things to do now. You know, I've acknowledged you. I felt the pain. I sat with it, and then I let it go. And I'll probably revisit it again, but, you know, try to be really conscious of like when you're approaching things in your brain, you know, don't let it become a spiral, because I'm a spiraler. Like, I will spiral out of control if I'm going there, I'm going there. Like, I'll go down the fucking rabbit hole. But, you know, like meditation, breath work, qigong, painting, snowboarding, skateboarding, all these things, like that brings you into the present. And when you're there, you're untouchable. When you live there, you're invincible. Nothing around you can hurt you as much. Like, you know, like, because you're living in the present moment, and you're like, wow, it's a really nice day out. Like, wow, look at that flower. Or, you know, and, you know, another thing, like, you can't run from your problems when you can't walk. So, hey, I don't know. Take it from me. Sit the fuck down.
Wow, mic drop.
Yeah, those are facts, as the kids say.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Now, been spending some time with Butters. He recommended a book to me called Many Lives, Many Masters. Mm-hmm. I just recently read it. I heard you read it.
Yeah.
Did it help you through your journey?
It changed my life. That book and Journey of Souls changed my life. It really helped me find an acceptance of death, and it inspired me to try regression therapy. And so, yeah, I mean, you know, and anything anyone believes in religion-wise, good for you, because it gives people a passion, it gives you a purpose. And for me, it just like, it unlocked this beauty of death and this beauty of acceptance of loss. And, you know, I mean, when you really think about it, like, you're born and then you die. Those are the two most inevitable things in your lifetime. And then on top of that, love, if you choose to have love in your life, that's another one. But yeah, it's special for me. It definitely changed my life. When I was going through the loss of Rue, I read those books, and I have found so much comfort and acceptance of death and loss, and just knowing that it's beautiful beyond, you know? And yeah.
Amazing. Love talking about death. I know that weirds people out. Like,
Yeah.
oh, don't talk about death. Oh, geez, no. Oh, Bell. Like, this guy's like, it's fucking great. We're all gonna die.
Yeah,
Let's fucking sniff it out and see what it's all about.
totally.
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
it makes life a little lighter. Would you
Yeah,
say?
totally. When you can find acceptance for death, like, you're gonna have a great life because you're not scared. Like, fear of death and fear of the future and fear of the past and anger at the past, like all those things. I mean, at the end of the day, they're unnecessary worries because we don't have control over when we're going to go. We don't have control over who we're going to lose. So when you see your friend, like, or when you go snowboarding, or, you know, it's like the same idea of like, treat it like your last. Treat every day like your last. And, you know, just treat people with kindness because you never know what's going to happen.
Let's get mystical. Do you believe in reincarnation?
Yes, I do. I believe in the travel of souls and that when you die, you go to the soul space. And then when you're there, you have a meeting with like your spirit guides and you kind of go through your life that you had just lived and see what you can work on. And then you go back down to earth and live another life. And I think kind of like what the book says, it's like, when you die, that's like the beauty. Like, you know, the human experience is the suffering. And that's where you're going to go through all the adversity and hardships. And then when you die, you're in pure bliss again. And you're just surrounded by souls and spirits and everybody that you've known and loved all in one place, welcoming you with open arms.
Then you come back down and do it again.
Yeah, do it again. And then
And you do it again.
do it again.
And you do it again.
Yeah, you do it again.
And then you realize that the fucking unpaid light bill or whatever is not the biggest problem in the world because
Yeah.
you're in this meat vessel for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be in another one in a little while longer.
Yeah.
And have fun while you're here.
Yeah, totally.
Good stuff. Love it.
Yeah.
Getting into some deep philosophical, mystical.
Gotta love it.
It's fun. Have you ever read any Michael Singer?
No, I haven't, but
Untethered Soul.
I'm
gonna get you a book if you have.
yeah, give me a book.
I'm gonna give it to you.
I can't think of one. Like maybe in the past, I've always, growing up, always tried to find some sense of spirituality, whether or not I was doing it right or wrong. So maybe, but I'd like to try again.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's just cool to see your peacefulness in this, in the circumstances, you know. And a lot of the Michael Singer stuff that I subscribe to is really, it's really, you know, interesting because you look at a lot of our struggles come from the life isn't the way we want it to be, whatever that is, right? Like, I'm not making enough money. This person's not making enough money. My dog died. My mom died. Whatever the thing is, and like I can't accept it because life isn't the way I want it to be. But then I think about yourself, like life isn't the way you like. Accepting MS is pushed to the extreme. That's gnarly to accept. Okay, I have this. Like life isn't the way I want it to be. Okay, well, how do I be okay? It's not external circumstances. You can't solve internal problems from external solutions. Like me buying a new house isn't going to help the fact that I'm miserable from some type of internal trauma or whatever, right? It's like it's all of the answers are inside of us, and I love that you are going in the direction of solving your problems by going inward and not looking at this person's problem, this person's problem. Mm-hmm. This is the problem, so I don't have to take a look at myself, you know. And I think that like I just love the way you're going about your journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it feels there's no other way, you know. I don't want to get back to the dark place. Yeah. The dark places I've been in, and I don't have control. I mean, if anything, MS has taught me that life is so fucking unpredictable. And, you know, I mean, I never in my life would be like, oh, I'm probably going to lose my ability to walk one day. You know what I mean? Like, you don't think about it. Then you're like, oh, shit, it's gone. But, you know, I think, it's just life can still be beautiful, even though your circumstance sucks.
Yeah. I think it's okay to not be okay too, right?
For sure. Absolutely.
Good point.
And I don't want to downplay and say that my journey with MS has only been beauty, because there has been immense mourning and immense loss, and immense ego stripping and panic attacks. And like those don't just go away. I think my philosophy on being happy and happiness is more along the lines of I'm having a bad day, but before I go to bed, maybe I'll have a moment to say, I'm still grateful for this. And then when I wake up tomorrow, I'm going to set my intention and try to have a better day. It's not just I'm so elated all the time, because life is still hard. Life is still challenging. I still fucking cry and break down because of the I can'ts. You know, like that's inevitable. I don't know. We're all human beings. We're all living the human experience. And yeah, it's not easy for anybody. Nobody's experience is going to be flawless and perfect and beautiful. Like, you look at these picture perfect families, like that have it all, like those people are hurting too. Yeah. Everybody's hurting. And I think it's just like trying to get back to the light. When you go and have those, like I have days where I lay in bed all day and I fucking cry and I have a pity party and it's like, fuck this, And then the next morning it's like, okay, I did that. Now today I'm going to try to find like peacefulness and happiness and do my stupid breath work again, because like I don't want to all the time, but then it's like, just fucking do it. Yeah, it's important. Like I'm not living in pure bliss, if that makes sense, but always finding it again.
You said something yesterday I thought it was cool, talking about how with your sisters and how, you guys go, you got the dogs, you guys are cruising around, like it's chaotic. Mm-hmm. But how that also helped set you up for this human experience now.
Yeah. I thrive in chaos. I've lived it my whole life. I thrive in it. So to me, I'm kind of looking at it as like, well, this is just another chaotic bump in the road that I have to get through. And I guess I'll continue to have to. I don't know. But can't go into the future because it's terrifying. I mean, it's the future is terrifying because there's so many questions. Will I be in a wheelchair? Will I lose all my abilities? Will I have to, will I not be able to use the restroom? Will I not be able to do all these things? Like, will I be, incapacitated completely one day? Like, to me, I can't go there because I might not come back from that. I can't. I mean, as soon as I touch into that whirlwind effect, it's like, it's fucking over. And that's why it's like and I call it a battle for the present because it's a fucking battle. Mm-hmm. Because there's days where I don't want to fucking be in the present. I want to go back to doing what I love, how I love to fucking do it. I want to go there. I want to go back to Japan when I didn't know this was going to fucking happen. But like, so it's like, I have to battle for the future. It's a full-time fucking job. But it's worth it. It's worth it, And there is beauty in the chaos.
All right. I have a guest question from one of the triplets, and her name is Riley, and she's your sister. Here we go.
Hey, Tay, it's Rye. My question for you is, after being diagnosed with MS, what positive things have shown up for you, and how has the snowboard community shown up for you and loved you in a way that you never could have imagined?
Hey, Rye. I love you.
I love you too.
She's the best. God, I was blown away by the support from the snowboard industry. My sisters set up a GoFundMe for me, and my pride, I was like, no, I'm not doing it. Like, we're not going to have one, even though, like, we're run dry financially with all the treatments, and I couldn't work and all the things. And then, she posted it without telling me, and I was like, and me and Brandon were like, okay, well, if we make rent this month, that's amazing. And then, it surpassed rent. I think it was over $30,000, and it was life changing. It allowed me to live my life without working. The snowboard community. To be honest, I always felt like I was on the outside of the community. I never felt, and I did that to myself. I always felt alienated. I felt like I didn't fit in. I didn't belong. I wasn't cool. And then when that happened, like, it just clicked. like this community does have my back, an overwhelmingly amount, you know, and I belong here and I am a snowboarder, and it's crazy that I didn't come to that realization until after my diagnosis, but I did. So thank you to everybody for that.
Gangster.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. I love it. Love to see this community rally together. It's a beautiful thing. Okay, I think maybe we should change gears for a second here.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
You know what segment I think it's good for? Maybe Silk or Cocard. You guys might know which one we're getting into.
I think we might be doing a name that video part.
Oh.
All right. We always ask our guests today, what's your confidence level 0 through 10?
Honestly, it's a 0.
A 0?
I'm not very good at memorizing things. Or, you know, I'll watch it and then I'll forget what the song was or whatever. So who knows?
All right, you got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Going in, no expectation. Here we go.
Shit. Is this a Brandon part?
Yes.
Woohoo!
Okay, this is an Absinthe movie. No, this is the Capita movie. Is this the DOA? Did we just watch this last night and I don't know it? Is it?
I think it's DO2, Future Islands?
The first one.
First with DOA1.
Is this,
DOA1.
this?
Yeah, it's the Birdman part.
DOA1. Okay, you got it. We're going to count that. You got it.
That was a
I think just,
softball.
yeah, by like the
You have to get on the ground. I Birdmanned you.
Yep. So this, okay, we don't have camera footage of this, but it's happening.
yeah.
You want to narrate what's happening today for the listeners?
I got Brandon with the Birdman. I'm going to be honest with everybody. I've never successfully done it until right now. He deflects every time.
The one time in life I let my guard down. Congrats, though. You got me.
Signature Brandon move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, I thought this would be a fun one because, like, if you didn't get the name that video part, like maybe that could be like a problem later on for you guys at home. You know, like
We would have had to talk about that, yeah.
like Brandon's just like, you know, I'm just really upset. I'm not mad. I'm just like, I thought you supported me, and I thought it could maybe be a bit of could be fun if it was an issue, you know?
Yeah,
But
he's disappointed.
She got it, and then she Birdman me and got me good. You got to vacuum the carpet, by the way.
Yeah.
I was just down there. It's a little dirty.
Yeah. Phil the dogs are regular. Yeah, a little fun fact, our vacuum we're currently vacuumless here at the ball.
Oh.
Jules ordered one. It was maybe the biggest pile of shit vacuum I've ever seen in my life. So
Was that a Black Friday deal?
it was just, I don't know what was happening, if she was like smoking crystal meth before she ordered this thing or what, but didn't function well. So anyway, yep. Sorry, we'll get on that. We got to do some vacuuming. Thanks for pointing that out, Cocard.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's get back to the show here. Part 2 of Name That Video part is for our listeners. If you know the song, comment on the photo of Tay on Instagram with the rider and the part, and that's where we pick our winner. And what did they get, Silk D?
I think you get a very exciting sticker pack.
A prize pack.
Wow.
Yeah.
But don't expect much in there. Okay.
Yeah, I think the prize pack is stickers.
I think people think they're going to get like a refrigerator box of bomb hole merch. It's just, you get some stickers and a nice note. And any rate, thank you for playing. Here's the song.
I know that one.
Say it, we'll beep it out.
Oof.
That's correct.
Oof.
Wow.
Shout out.
Let's get you a prize pack. Let's get you a prize pack after this. You earned a prize pack.
Oh,
too.
thank you so much.
Fancy. And you've been doing a great job hosting. Oh, I got to do the outro song. Thank you guys for playing. Name that video.
That was
part.
fun.
What do you want to talk about, Fancy?
What do I want to talk about? Oh my gosh. Really, what I want to talk about is, like Taylor's gone through all these changes and all this kind of stuff. Let's talk about backcountry Tay in the Rubies.
Yeah. Oh, so
where'd we go?
We went to the Rubies.
What are the
In
Rubies for
Elko.
the listeners, not me, because I know what they are?
Gosh dang. So they are a mountain range in the middle of Nevada. There's no ski resort. We went out there on a snowmobile trip. And the mission was to climb this couloir, terminal cancer.
Yeah. I'm not a couloir person. Just so everybody's aware, I grew up in Wisconsin. I'm a jib girl, and so a couple months into my sobriety, Fancy and Keith are like, let's go to the Rubies. And Madison was there too. Shout out Madison Blackley, my best friend. Love you. Yeah. And so I'm like, cool, we're going to hike a couloir. Like, I got a cotton shirt on, baggy pants, not Gore-Tex. And then we get there, and she's like, it's that one. And I was like, shut the fuck up. That is not like intro to couloir, you know? And it wasn't good snow at all. And instead of splitboarding the approach, we decided to post hole the whole way.
The only good snow we had the entire day was on the approach.
Was post holing, and it took forever. How long did it take us to get to the top?
19 hours.
Like, it felt like a lifetime. And, but we made it. And we didn't have crampons. We should have. The snow was not good. But we made it. We snowboarded down it. Keith climbed, like, a crazy ice wall just so that he could get a photo of our approach. And we were like, dude. And he was like, no, it's fine, it's fine. And then later he's like, no, it was really fucking sketchy up there. But he did get a cool photo. So props. Shout out Keith. He's been our forever filmer, photographer, always, through and through.
We should probably give him, should we give him the super air horn?
Yes,
absolutely. Yeah.
He's also in the lobby looking at us right now.
Yeah.
Making eye contact.
Yeah, he's giving us, metal horns right now. We love him.
Shout out, Keith.
Continue.
But yeah, and then we snowboarded down it, and it was terrifying. I think I cried after more than during. Like, I was shaking the whole time. It was ice. It was horrible. And Fancy's like, you want to go first? And I was like, okay. I'm not ready. Like, my goggles were like all messed up. My GoPro is looking in the wrong way. And I'm just like, zip up and go. Okie dokie, here we go. And I made it. But I don't know. Maybe I'll become a couloir person. I'm glad we did it. But definitely had a moment of like, what?
It was hilarious. Like, the entire experience was hilarious. The snow could not have been any more terrible. It was rock solid. We're literally looking at it the night before, like, through binoculars. We, like, drove up there. And we're like, oh, my God, it looks like fresh pow up there. It's going to be so sick.
It looks mental when people hit it good, though.
Yeah.
It looks
like a dream.
Yeah, there's that video on YouTube of those Nitro boys riding it, and they just crush it. Like, that's what we envisioned ourselves
That's what we
doing.
thought we were going to do.
That is not at all what we did.
We had to kick like 3 times into the snow each step just to get a stepping. Did it. Check.
Hey, but next day you dropped that cliff.
Yeah, I think I dropped a little micro cliff. Yeah. I've been known to drop some micro cliffs or big cliffs and then eat shit.
All right, we got another question from Keith, who's sitting in the lobby right now. All right, this next guest question is presented by Hippeas. Now, here at the Bomb Hole, we love hammering snacks at the office. And our snack of choice is always Hippeas. They're delicious, and they're actually good for you. A lot of snacks that I buy that are healthy taste like you're chewing on cardboard. I don't know why I buy them, because they're disgusting. Not the case with Hippeas. They're delicious. I love the nacho vibes, packed full of flavor. They taste great. They're non-GMO, and they're made from chickpeas. Now, the cool thing is these chickpeas are farmed with 10% of the water than most proteins. So you're using 90% less water taken from Mother Nature. Support sustainable farming with sustainable snacking. And if you're interested in getting some Hippeas, you can find them at your local grocery store or hippeas.com. Use promo code BOMBHOLE for 20% off your order at hippeas.com. Here we go.
Hey, Bombhole. This is Keith Rutherford. I have a question for Taylor. What was your hype song this year while you were filming for Here For You? And my second question is, can you tell me a little bit about your first trip
to Japan and how you missed your flight. Thanks, guys. Look forward to the answers.
Double header, Keith. Love you, Keith. My hype song was Lady Gaga, and why am I blanking? Shallow. Yeah.
It's
you know that
real
song?
hard hitter.
Yeah.
Were you just singing it?
We were just singing it.
Oh, it's from the movie.
From the movie. I'm off the deep end.
I'm off the deep end.
Watch as I dive in.
Bradley Cooper?
Yep. I'll never leave the ground. It's a really sad movie.
Maybe you guys could try to recreate what you're doing off air and actually do a little a cappella.
Yeah. I'm off the deep end, watch as I dive in. I'll never leave the ground.
Wow.
Sorry.
You guys, that was some Tay and Faye shit.
You know, I'm not a singer, but damn, that felt good.
That felt really great.
Felt like we nailed it.
I feel like you guys have been called the songbird of our generation now. Potentially.
Put me in the band, Brandon. Come on. Give me a chance. Okay.
Question. So the first one, Lady Gaga. Second one, Japan.
Oh, yeah. First time I went to Japan. So, like a week before we went, I worked at a boot fitting shop with Keith as the front desk girl. I was not good at my job, but I was making some money. I was saving for Japan. I was going to go. This was like my first trip out of the country. I was so stoked. And then a week before, I tacoed a rail because I couldn't commit to a cab went onto like the tiniest rail. I deserved it. No commitment. I had commitment issues. So I like dislocated some ribs and broke one, maybe two. I don't know. And then I was like, I'm still going. And they're going on a film trip. But I was like, at this point, I was like, I'm going. I've never been out of the country. Like, I'm going to live my best life. And I made so many friends. I was bopping around. They were filming. I would go to bars, come home with besties. Like, oh my God, living my best life.
We had the best time in Japan.
It was awesome. And then my friends that I had made, I went with them to go to this premiere. And I was like, see you later, guys. Like, I'm fucking out. I'm going to explore Japan solo and go to this premiere, have so much fun. The next day, we're supposed to fly out. I was like, I'll make it. It's fucking fine. Yeah. Woke up, get on a bullet train, and then it's like, oh, your bullet train you're like 2 hours away. My flight is in 2 hours. And my bag is at the hotel. And I was like, can you guys grab my bag? And they were like, no. No, you fucked up. Ooh. And well, I did fuck up. I was on a trip. I was on spring break. You know, I was having the best time. And then, to be honest, like part of me, I didn't want to go home. I was having so much fun. So I'm on the bullet train. No way was I going to make my flight. Like, I still go to the airport. I just said, fuck my bag. I left my bag, just went to the airport and was like, okay, I think I'm going to make it. No, didn't make it. And then they were like, well, it's the same price to change your flight to the flight tomorrow or the next day. And I was like, 3 days from now. 3 days from now. And then I met this amazing woman. So I go to the bar. I get my bag, by the way. And then I go to this bar, and I'm like sitting there drinking my tequila, thinking I'm like hot shit in Japan by myself. Like, this is my live, laugh, love moment. This is it. Like, I am discovering the world by myself. Like, small town Tay, she's out there. And then, yeah, this wonderful woman, I'm sitting there, and then I'm on the dance floor by myself. Like, I don't know anybody. It's great. And then this wonderful, amazing woman, I can't even remember her name, like comes up to me, and she's like kind of bodyguarding me, and then she gets me a shot, and then I get her a shot. And then we end up spending 3 days together. And this woman like partied harder than me. Like, she would smoke 2 packs a day. And she was also like the sweetest, most amazing woman. And so I'm in Narita, and she has like a place there. And so then she takes me to clubs throughout the night. We went to like a Justin Bieber themed club, and like, you know, she's like bodyguarding me and also dancing and having fun. And then we went to see the Narita-san temple with her. She's like showing me all her favorite cafes, taking photos on her little disposable camera, like for her book of tourists that she like collects, like all the photos from all of her experiences. And then she took me to this like Reiki healing. Like, she was like, we're gonna go to lunch, she didn't speak English. I didn't speak Japanese. We're just speaking through like, good, here, okay. And smiling and laughing. And then she took me to this lunch where all of her old, like her friends, they're all like of the same age, like these like cute little grandmas. And they all do like a Reiki healing session on me because of my broken ribs and stuff. And it was so amazing and beautiful. And then I was completely out of money. And then she took me to the airport, paid for my bags, and sent me on my way. And I never saw her again.
Only to an Elliott do you miss your flight, end up having the 3 best days of your life, find somewhere to live, and find someone to take care of you.
It was great.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it was great. I wish I remembered her name. Grandma-san, that's what we'll call her.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Coco, you got anything to add to that?
I agree with you, Fancy, only to the Elliots. like these angels come out of the woodwork and just kind of help them along their way. And never fails.
Oh.
You just trust and the world provides. Just put a smile on and say, thank you so much. And then there you go. Yeah. Sorry, Fancy, though. I did leave you guys hanging.
I think I had already gone home or I was staying later or something. Keith was at the airport.
Yeah.
Like waiting for her.
And I didn't make it.
And then he flew home and like had an extra seat next to him and got to like stretch out. So he was, you know.
Yeah. I didn't make it.
But he was very worried about you.
And then my phone died and I didn't have a charger. And then I'm at these clubs and 2 days later I'm like, I got a phone charge, And then finally I get a hold of everybody. And I'm like, yo, I'm still here. I'm coming home. We're good.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Legendary. Fancy, maybe you could tee this up, but talking about Too Hard legendary moment with the tampon.
Ooh, the tampon. Yeah, I don't even know if people even know about it anymore,
I tried to hide it for a long time. I was like, nah, it wasn't me. Probably one of my sisters.
So I'll do my best to tee it up. Wow. Too Hard, the very first Too Hard. Danielle is a creative genius, editing master, amazing snowboarder, great friend. We love you. So the first couple years of Too Hard, I was actually super involved, so it was great. And Danielle's editing this video. She shows it to me, and I'm kind of doing more business stuff. She's all creative. And there's a shot of this little blonde girl. I have no idea who she is. And she's swirling a tampon over her head, a used tampon over her head.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know about this. She was like, it's okay. Who is it? It's Taylor Elliott. Is she okay with it? I think she's okay with it.
No.
That's what she told me.
I wasn't okay with it.
We love you, Danielle.
But
it was legendary.
Whatever.
Game-changing. Yeah.
Looking back, fucking, that's core as shit,
Hell yeah, you are so
That's so core.
rock.
If I knew what I was standing for, I was standing for something. But at the time, I was just 17. She's like, do some crazy shit, and I was like, well, yeah, I got this. And then I begged her not to put it in, and then I just also was so honored to be a part of it. I was still in high school. I was 17. Madison was taking me to these spots, and this image of Too Hard, I wanted to be a part of it so bad. And I was just a kid, looking back, fuck it. That's cool. I don't care that it happened. But when I was 17 and fragile, it was the worst thing that could have happened to me. But, it is what it is.
It's just a tampon.
It's just a tampon. That is such an ode to feminism and it's such a funny subject for people. There's such a fear instilled, and now it's that's fucking sick.
Yeah, dude, it's so sick.
But at the time, terrified. I didn't have anything I stood for because I was just trying so hard. I just wanted to be a part of this amazing thing that was happening. Still in high school, just I'm gonna snowboard on street rails. Fuck yeah, and then was hitting them and eating shit and figuring it out the hard way, I did not have the talent to be there. I don't think I did. I had the balls. I was like, well, I'll fucking hit this fucking thing. And then, yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Wouldn't go well. I don't do it again. But you're 17. You're young. You're fearless.
Yeah.
And, you're a part of something.
I think we kind of talked about this morning. First of all, Too Hard, I think, changed women's snowboarding for sure, right? We know that there was Peep Show and Lipstick and all the others that came before that. But, I mean, God, Too Hard was sick.
Yeah, I think.
Highly entertaining.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it came at a time in snowboarding where the industry was not ready for a bunch of crazy fucking bitches doing shit like that. Yeah. And so, Too Hard was fucking core as fuck at the time. Like, it was like, you know, it was a thing. And whatever evolved later on, like, with Too Hard, like, it doesn't even matter. Like, it has its place in history, and what Danielle did was amazing, you know, and gave all of these women a platform. Like, I would say 99% of the women who came up with snowboarding started there. Like, in street snowboarding, I mean, you know, like, that was it. That was
see
like
a lot of names that are sharpening their teeth in those early ones.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember we were talking about this yesterday. Like, looking back on those videos, I remember the comments were fucking gnarly.
I got annihilated.
Yeah, Taylor and I were talking about this morning, like, Yobi, love it, hate it, it's part of history, but dang, it was harsh, man.
Yeah. I was 17, and people were so ruthless. Like, it scared me. Like, they were the keyboard warriors at its worst, you know, because it's not just like, oh, it's this person. Like, people had alter aliases, and then they would just say the most derogatory shit.
Yeah.
And then after that, like, I was like, I'm getting out of Salt Lake. Like, I didn't feel like I belonged there. After that whole incident, like, I really felt like pushed out. And then I moved to Tahoe, and you know, but that's all part of the journey of who I am today too.
Yeah. For people who don't know, Yobi was a internet video hosting website that was an anonymous platform, so people could really comment whatever they wanted to say. You know, it was really interesting how people, you know, were hiding behind this shield and saying these things. Like, we talk about like women snowboarding, like, historically, and God, it was freaking nasty. But I mean, we still did it, and we loved it. And I mean, I don't know, it was harsh. I wasn't the direct critic of a lot of the comments, so I don't know. It was
But that also
brutal.
led me on more of a warpath of like, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
I'm doing my thing. Like, I'm not doing it for anyone else. Like, I'm doing it for me. And I love it. And I definitely hid out from the industry for a while. Like, I felt like I needed to, which is funny. Looking back, like, who cares? It's just like,
totally.
Who cares? Why does it matter? But I was 17, you know, and I was like, like, everybody hates me. But, like, nobody did. They're just a bunch of young kids on their computers.
Maybe.
Well, yeah, probably not even young, but yeah, totally.
Maybe young.
The
Maybe
anonymous
grown
thing,
adults.
they threw shade everywhere too.
Yeah.
Dudes, you know, I remember getting shit on there, and it is interesting when you're young. It doesn't roll off. Like, it hits you, and you're insecure, and you're still not even sure who you are, and so, and you're, you know, trying to figure it out, and it just fucking stings a little more.
Totally. That also, you know, I feel like that was like just another confirmation for people to say the triplets are crazy. You know, like, we all lived in this, like, when there's 3 of you doing the thing, and we came onto the scene, and it was a tornado effect because it is chaotic energy. It's a lot of us, and it's like loud, and we have opinions, and it's like, you know, we came on strong, and it definitely was like the beginning of like this umbrella effect of like a large part of the industry being like, they're crazy. And so then I leaned into that, and I was like, yeah, I'm fucking crazy. Watch out. Like, I'll bite back. Obviously, like, looking back, like, it all stemmed from insecurities, right? Like, you put up your wall and you go, like, well, now my wall's so high, no one can break through it. Like, I'm tough, I don't care. When I did care, but I was like, nah, like, I'm untouchable. Like, we're good. Like, but, you know, deep down, I'm just a sensitive person. Really. I'm like, wait, that really hurt my feelings. But you know what I'm saying? You're just a kid trying to figure out life, and you know, we moved out of our house at such a young age. Like, we didn't have that much guidance. It was just like, nobody was showing us the rules of life. No one, like, I didn't feel like Too Hard was like this sense of like new family that we had. And like this new group of people who like really cared about us. Like, I met Fancy and Madison and some of my longest friends through Too Hard, you know, and yeah, so it's fun to reflect just because, like, looking back, like, my heart hurts for younger me because, you know, I felt so unseen that I had to do something to make myself be seen, you know, and at the time, like, maybe it was in bad context, but, like, I didn't know. I was 17, like, was living on my own, and I was like, I was a snowboarder, and I was, these things, but like realistically, like I was running away from years and years of trauma and chaos, and like me and my sisters were just like trying to figure out life. Like we were like a bunch of lost puppy dogs looking for a home and some place to land where we were loved, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, let's talk CBDayz. Now, CBDayz is a wellness company crafting recovery products for athletes made with CBD, a compound from the hemp plant known for reducing inflammation. It was founded by snowboarders DCP and Frank Bourgeois in March of 2020. They developed a unique anti-inflammatory tropical called the OG Muscle Gel. This unique blend of 24 essential oils is designed to be fast absorbed by the skin and deliver the relief from CBD within minutes. This gel has built a reputation for speeding up your recovery time. The best feedback comes from post-surgery trauma, ligaments, muscular inflammation, and arthritis. Now, CBDayz products are endorsed and used daily by many legends and upcoming riders, like Kurt Wastel, Bjorn Linus, Pat Fava, Ryan Paul, and many more, and even myself too. I love it. Their mission is to help the snowboard community getting after it by offering 100% natural and effective recovery solutions. You can find CBDayz at your local shops such as Wave Rave, Darkside, Underground Snowboards, Snowshed New York, and other premium retailers who care about your health. If you have lingering injuries right now and love to try CBDayz product, you can hop on CBDayz.com and score a 30% discount by using code BOMBHOLE30 and start addressing your pain right now. Just head on over to CBDayz.com and enter promo code BOMBHOLE30 to put your hands on the famous OG Muscle Gel, tinctures, and other awesome CBD recovery products. Wanted to see if you want to talk about your latest project, Here For You.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, so Here For You came at a really cool time in my life. When I went sober 2 years ago, I was like, I'm done snowboarding. Like I have failed at snowboarding, I have failed at drinking, I have failed at all these things. Like I didn't ever feel like I did what I wanted to do in the uninvited. I never felt like I had achieved any of my goals. So I lived in absolute sense of like overwhelming failure. And then I worked at this restaurant, and it's called Finca. Shout out Finca fam. I know they're all gonna tune into this. And these women I worked with became some of my closest friends, and they helped me get through some of the crazy isolating time of my life. And it was just like I didn't have much, but I could go to work, and I knew I felt loved there. And I had support. And with that, I met McKenna, and she's a skier. And we were just talking like, oh, what are you going to do this year? Like, I don't know. What are you going to do? And then we were like, let's just do something together. Like, fuck it. Like, we didn't care. Like, we don't have long-standing brands to be like, here, this is what you're going to do. So we were like, let's just make something together. And then, it was awesome. We like somehow got funding from like rogue avenues, like Thread Wallets and NARS, which is like it's like Ethereum. It's like NFT. It's like kind of like a subculture. Like we had to get creative with funding. And then like Vantage Vintage supported us and Autumn Headwear. But so then it was like, oh, we're doing this. Like, let's make it happen. And then we went to Japan. We went to Minnesota. We filmed a lot around here. And it was just amazing because for me, like, I finally felt like confident in myself. And I felt like I was doing what I was meant to be doing. And I had support and there was no rules. And we could create this thing that like meant something to us personally. And I've never felt better on my snowboard. Like, after all that self-doubt, like this past winter, I finally felt like I figured out my snowboard and myself and who I was. And I guess like just striving to like, I was like, this is it. Like, this is my year. I'm going to find a place in the industry now. Like that's what it felt like. And I'm going to make it on my own. Like, I'm going to figure that out on my own. Like, it's like, is the industry ready for a ski snowboard movie? Like, probably not, but who cares? Because for me, like being in that environment was amazing. Like, like it was filled with love and support, and nobody was saying, this is exactly what we expect from you, and these are the spots we want you to hit, and you can't do certain things. Like, we could just do it on our own, and it was really special.
Cool. I like it. I like what you said, and I love, you can tell the vibe between you guys in the video. Like, you're having fun and you're friends, and it feels authentic, and it's cool to see. Personally, I'm guilty of absolutely shitting on skiing here on our show sometimes, and it's cool to see that we all coexist together in the space and blur the lines a little bit. It was great.
And I'll be honest, like, I didn't know anything about skiing. Like, I didn't know, like, I had to learn, like, oh, this is how you hit spots. This is how you build spots. This is what you're interested in. Like, it was a whole new battle, and not to say it wasn't challenging, because it was, but it was also amazing and beautiful, and felt like we did something for ourselves. Like, we didn't make it for everyone else, like, it was like, let's just do this for us, because we both need a place to land and a place to feel inspired. So yeah, that's kind of where that came from. And then Riley McKenna, and now my friend Riley, he edited it, and he did such a good job.
He did a great job.
He did a really good job. Yeah.
Cool. Do you want to tee up anything?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to bring up, like, so it was you, McKenna, and Eureka, mostly. Just basically 3 riders in the movie, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell the listeners a little bit about our Japanese family?
Yeah, 100%. Yuribo and Tebow.
Shout out.
Absolute shout out. So we met them our first trip to Japan and hit spots with them. And it was really cool to reconnect this past year, because I think, we had both progressed so much in life and on our snowboards that it was really great to reconnect and, like, snowboard with her again at, like, such a different level than the first trip. And Tebow, and they just took us in like family and showed us around, and here's a good spot, here's another one, like, and took us to all the best restaurants. And, it's great. It feels like we have a home away from home with them out in Japan. And yeah, really special.
And what's up with the BT Bounds?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting thing to talk about. So, I think, so Beyond the Boundaries is an amazing women's specific snowboard camp that introduces women into the park, maybe that have or haven't been in the park before. And Taylor and I have been involved with Christine and Mary Walsh. They definitely get a shout out. They are hooking up the women's snowboard industry, I think, for sure. They'll have camps, weekend camps here in the U.S., and there's 100 women who want to throw themselves at some metal and learn how to hit a jump and learn a new grab and learn the, no grab zones and all that kind of stuff. And Taylor and I, we've been able to be a part of that for a long time. We've been to Chile together and New Jersey.
Yeah.
Kind of all around giving back to these women. And I think I'll let Taylor talk, but how do you feel about getting down to that core level and actually meeting these women?
Oh, I love it. It's my favorite thing in snowboarding, because you get to hands-on introduce people to the thing that you love the most. And it's also great because you're creating connections with people that you never would have. Like, they're not inside this box of, like, core cool snowboarding, right? So they're the people that are buying the gear and who are so fascinated by snowboarding and snowboarding culture. And, like, a lot of the women that have come to the camps have become lifelong friends. I remember being on the chairlift with some of the women, and I was like, what do you do? And it's like, oh, I'm a brain surgeon. And I was like, huh? Wow. and then the woman next to her was like a surgeon of some other sort. And it was just so incredible. And they were like, what you're doing is so special. And I was like, what you're doing is special, but, like, it's really cool to see what snowboarding at its core is again, and to watch someone learn a trick that they didn't think they could do. It brings you back to your first time doing these things, and it brings back the original joy that snowboarding is. And, like, that thrill of learning something or hitting a box for your first time. Like, everybody remembers their first box, or first jump you hit. So it is really amazing. I love what Mary and Christine have accomplished, and I think they have really built a special place for snowboarding, and they're growing snowboarding, like, especially for women. Like, they're doing amazing things, and it's special to be a part of it.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's fucking cool. It's cool to think about too. It's like you've been somewhere your whole life. You guys have been somewhere your whole life. You have all this information that seems just like what you do. You know where to grab and not grab your snowboard. You know how to hit a box. You know how to hit a rail. But to somebody that's just learning, you guys have a lot to offer, you know, and I never really think about that, but that's fucking cool.
Right? Yeah, you're like, oh, like, because every woman just wants to grab Tindy, right? Like, it's just like natural.
Yeah.
It's so natural.
Yeah.
Doing like these little grab clinics, like, it's so cool. And they're like, why? Why can't you grab there? And you're like, well, it's just not cool.
Yeah. It's a no grab zone.
Yeah.
You're like, snowboarding's complicated. There's this unwritten rule book that's like pretty vague, but you just don't grab there.
Yeah.
Just trust us on this one and don't grab there.
I don't agree.
Oh, okay. Coke-Guard, you got a take here?
I got a hot take. You want to grab Tindy, be my guest. You know, tweak it, pull it up all crazy, do what you got to do out there. If you're grabbing your snowboard and having fun, shouldn't matter.
Love
Fair.
That's I get the other side of it. Like, yeah, there's this, you know, book of unwritten rules, but, you know, why?
Yeah.
Why can't you grab Tindy?
It's
I'm gonna bring it back.
All right, bring it back.
And tailfish and what's the other one?
Newt? Nose mute?
Yeah, nose mute. That's a good one.
What about boot? Is boot still a go?
Boot is never a go.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if I'm gonna stand on my high ground over here, grab your boot. Do it. If you can touch your toes, like you're doing something right.
Yeah.
Okay, what about a heel cup on a method?
Oof.
Method heel cup. Yeah, you know, there's a lot of gray areas out there. You know, you're asking some good questions, some really thoughtful. We're getting philosophical over here. But at the end of the day, it's just freaking snowboarding. And if you're having fun, you're doing it right. So
True.
All right, BT Bounds ladies. Hope you heard that. Let Brandon prevail.
You're setting these women up for failure by telling them to grab Tindy. And they're like, why?
don't listen to me. Nobody. Please don't. I'm in the back of the room over here. Don't pay attention to me.
I was trying to get sponsored. Nobody's sponsoring me. And they say it's because I grabbed Tindy, but Coke-Guard told me I can grab Tindy.
Right. My bad.
I like your philosophy. I'm busting your balls, but it is, you know, that's a good question. I mean, why can't you grab Tindy? Anybody ever really do a deep dive on that?
Yeah, who said?
Who did create the rule?
Who wrote that?
I don't know. Maybe, you know, there was that Capita board that came out, Travis Parker's pro model, and he X'd out all the places that, you know, you weren't supposed to grab.
It's definitely a rule before then, though.
Yeah, it might. Yeah, for sure. I think that was the first time, though, that I saw that, and I was like, oh, interesting. Because I really look up to Travis. You know, he's like one of my favorite snowboarders of all time. So what he says is obviously cool to me. But I never really questioned it. And as you guys were talking about it, I'm like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Like, why not just, you know?
Respect.
Yeah.
Be respect.
Like that take. That's a hot take. Mm-hmm. What else do you guys teach?
What do we teach? I love teaching a tail press. Like teaching a woman, like they're like, you know, they go and they try and like pull up their front foot to tail press. And then we just show them like standing still, like how to shift their weight around on their snowboard. Like it progresses their snowboarding so far.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite thing to teach. And Taylor, what about you?
I love teaching fundamentals, but, you know, there's also like some of the women who've been coming to camp forever are like, I want to do a back three onto a box. And I'm like, sure, let's do it. And then they do it. And you're like,
it's insane. It is absolutely insane.
Like it's like these camps are powerful.
They really are.
Like women will learn like 10 tricks in the 2 days. Like it is insane. Like sometimes all it takes for a woman to feel more comfortable on their snowboard is another woman saying, you can do it. And this is how. It's powerful stuff, really. It's cool. And then it makes you be like, well, I guess I should learn that trick. You know?
So the women's only camps make women feel more comfortable because they're less intimidated, or what's the, I'm just curious.
I think so.
I got to take.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think, you know, God damn it.
Permission to speak freely.
Yeah. most of the time when you go to the resort as a woman, you go with your dudes, right? Like your dude friends or your boyfriend or whatever. And like I remember I would chase my brother around the mountain. I could falling leaf like so fast down a black diamond, like just like no skill at all, but just wanted to keep up with them. And so I think about that all the time. It's like they're going up on the weekend warrior style, chasing their guy friends around the mountain. Then they come to the park and they go, just do it. How do I hit this box? Just do it. Whereas we take the time to like break it down to them because, you know, we've got our heads are always spinning too. Like, how do you do it? Like, let me think about it. And then break it down and slow down and tell them that they can, right?
Yeah.
That's what I think.
It creates a safe space for sure.
Yeah.
Just a safe space. You know, I think also it stemmed from Christine and Mary, like growing up in the park, not having that. Like it wasn't around. Yeah. And it was something the industry was missing, you know, and it's a great way to get women and more involved in snowboarding. Yeah. You know, and close the gender gap.
Yeah. And we found each other, right? Like we all have each other. I'll go snowboarding with Taylor, be like, Taylor, God, you're so good at doing hard wave front ones. I suck at them. How do you do it? Right? And then we just like kind of chat through it and then she'll teach me a trick, right? Like we have that and like opening up that opportunity to other women to find other chicks to ride with. Like, because part of the program is you get added to a Facebook group so you can be like, hey, I'm going up to Brighton this weekend. You want to get together.
So it's a community thing.
Yeah.
Not just like you're here, you learn some tricks and you're out. You guys keep the vibe going. That's gangster.
Yeah.
That's gangster shit. All right, BT Bounds. Well, I'm going to bring us back in here with a little...
Homie's cooked.
That's Young Dolly saying Homie's cooked.
That adds up.
Brandon didn't know that because Brandon doesn't have headphones.
No headphones.
Yep, here we go. Let's see. Here we go.
Homie's cooked.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. Had
now you feel included.
Had to bless him with a Homie's cooked. Let's talk about the project you got going on with Butters. I know he's been filming you. I spent a lot of time with Butters, a.k.a. Brock, Brown Cinema creative master, for those who don't know. But, yeah, you guys have been making a doc. What's going on with it?
Yeah, we're trying. I mean, you know, I think I've obviously never made a documentary, but trying to do all the things that you're supposed to do with, like, pitches and all of that and getting them dialed and going kind of up the ladder to learn and figure out like where this is headed. Like we don't have like what it's going to look like yet, but Brock has just been kind of filming me doing random things like day to day in my life. And yeah, I think, you know, the goal of the documentary is I just want people to watch it and feel like what they're going through, like whatever it is, whatever adversity they're facing, that there's things you can do to get through it and hopefully find some type of inspiration, or hopefully it reaches somebody who watches it and makes them feel like they can get through what they're going through too.
Fuck yeah. That's amazing.
You do that for me on a daily basis. So.
Yeah, I mean, we should talk about it off air. I don't know where you're going with this thing, but we're happy to help get firepower behind it, and however you need to get this thing offloaded, because it's like it's one of those things where like there's so much snowboard like trick videos, which I love, built my life around, still adore, still get me excited, but not quite like this is a whole different level of radness.
It's out of the umbrella of snowboarding. You know, I think anybody with a passion or anybody in the world can relate to what I'm going through in some way and hopefully take something from it. And if anything, live their life with a little bit more gratefulness and love.
Love it. Now, Cocard submitted a guest question, which we could play through the headphones, or you could do it live. Would you like to do it live?
Fuck it, we'll do it live. Okay. What's up, bombhole? It's Brandon. Hey, Tay. Super excited to hear your episode. Maybe you could tell us and the listeners about Star Child and who she is and where she came from. Thanks.
First try. He just first tried it.
Nailed it. Star Child is derived from my high psychedelic use at a point in my life where I was trying to find the answers through psychedelics. And I found some answers, but the real Star Child would go to these like woods rave parties and like spin fire poi and all types of poi. And I was just trying to like have meaningful life conversations while being super high on psychedelics, whatever they may be. But Star Child came to an end one time when I accidentally took too many hits of acid. I think I needed to be done with psychedelics. Whatever I was looking for, like this was like the beginning of my like spiritual quest, I guess, that I was on. But like I was approaching it in such the wrong way. But I found something. I mean, it definitely defines a bit about who I am now. Like, I just lived in Tahoe, like barefoot on the beach, like taking psychedelics and smoking spliffs, like, hanging with the Gremlins and Strange Brew.
Yeah.
And we were all...
I actually meant to give the Gremlins an air horn.
Love
the
it.
Homies cooked.
Love it.
Sorry to stumble the conversation.
But yeah, I mean, I think we were all on a bit of a self-discovery journey in our own way. And I mean, there's nothing like Tahoe in those days. It was such a family.
Well, I don't know this Star Child. Is this when you were living in my shed?
Part of it. Yeah, it was.
Okay.
I lived in Fancy's shed for a while. It started like a little bit before the shed and ended.
Star Child died in the shed.
Were you right next to like a lawnmower and like a bag of fertilizer back
it's
there?
not.
Or
It's
what?
not quite like that.
Oh, okay.
No.
Keith finished it with drywall. There was
there's
some
drywall,
indoor-outdoor carpet in there.
Yeah.
There's a bed.
Yep, okay.
It was pretty sick.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I got my own studio, and it was tiny, but it was mine. And I think you guys charged me like $200 a month. I was living my best life. Yeah, so that was Star Child. Star Child went on a journey, and Star Child ended her journey shortly after. It was probably a 2-year journey. Yeah.
Cool. What a fun journey though. Think about early 20s. You guys are living your best life, figuring it out, and then Star Child is born. Star Child is no longer, and it's just been a perfect. Look at what you've evolved to. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's
I
perfect.
wouldn't change it for the world. It was amazing. I learned a lot about myself, and I could do a lot of psychedelics. Like I wasn't afraid of going there, and you do have breakthroughs when you're there, whatever they may be. But yeah, it's funny.
Love it.
Amazing. All right, I think we should serve up a little section of the show we call hot takes.
Hot takes. Let's do it.
So these are, I mean, you can elaborate, but kind of keep it tight. You know what I mean?
'Kay.
So we started off with the GOAT of snowboarding, both male and female, to you, like your GOAT. Who you got?
Kimmy Fasani, Brandon Cocard.
Ooh.
Cocard.
I'm honored. Wow.
Cocard, do you want to do an acceptance speech?
Do the wave, maybe.
Yeah, I'll just wave. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
You said keep it tight, so.
He just goes on a 45-minute thank you.
You have to play me out.
Pull the music where you got to give him the hook.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Is snowboarding an art form or a sport to you?
Art form.
Okay. In your opinion, who is the most underrated?
I mean, first person that comes to mind, J-Rob. I'm kind of drawing a blank, but I mean, that's immediately what comes to my mind is Jason Robinson.
That's a great answer. Steel or powder?
Powder.
Your favorite style ever?
Oh, favorite style. I love Maria Thompson's style. And Jill. I mean, I've, tried to find my own style with a lot of inspiration from those two women.
Mm-hmm. Who has your favorite method?
Favorite method? I mean, Nico.
What's your favorite snowboard video ever made?
Favorite snowboard video ever made? I'm not good at this.
It's called hot takes. You're in the hot seat.
Yeah. I guess I really loved, I think I love the DOAs because for me, I get to know Brandon at a time I didn't know him, and it was so fun and inspiring, and I loved them before I met Brandon, but like now it's like nostalgic for me because I feel like I'm getting to know the person I love more, like when he was younger, you know?
Cool. Love that answer. Your favorite snowboard graphic ever made? Best board graphic.
Honestly, Dez's board, the Solomon. Favorite all time. Amazing. I also really love the artwork on Dara's new board this year. Probably top 2 right now.
Nice. Okay, we got, if you go snowboarding, you go pants over the high back or under the high back?
Under.
Okay, if you go heliboarding with 3 people, there's only 3 seats in the heli, who are you bringing?
Am I one of the 3? Yeah.
Well, there's 3 extra seats.
3 extra seats. Okay, Brandon, Fancy, and Keith.
Yes.
Woo! Okay, what is your dream sponsor?
North Face.
I'm just gonna throw this out there.
Oh, wait.
You could do anything in the world.
Okay, Toyota.
Okay, I like, those are both good. I mean, I'm not
No,
saying
it's Toyota all day.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah, I like to say Home Depot.
Oh, fuck. I feel like I really limited my
The
reach
world
here.
is getting bigger as we speak.
Okay,
What?
fuck it. Chanel. Gucci, actually.
Fancy, you got one? Let's throw you in the hot seat.
Oh yeah, let's go Gucci and
It's a multifaceted answer.
oh gosh, yeah, Gucci and yeah, Toyota. Sounds like
Yeah.
a fun time.
I like to change my answer to Panda Express.
Oh.
Cocard and Silk, what do you got?
You go first.
Fender.
Is that a guitar
Ooh.
manufacturer?
Sick.
I thought yours was the U.S. Mint.
Changing it. I could be broke. That's fine.
Taco Bell.
Respect.
I think Brandon and I actually shared a sponsor for a little bit. We both rode for Jacks on the Tracks.
You rode for Jacks on the Tracks.
Oh yeah, I did. I was sponsored by a restaurant
jealous
in
of you
Truckee.
guys.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
that was
really
cool.
cool. Sorry you missed the boat on that.
That's fine.
Oh, you
Yeah.
didn't get the content.
Yeah, I got that free food.
Yeah, that plays pretty good. Too.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, let's keep hot takes going here. Last question. Worst trend. What do you got?
Worst trend. Everybody doing what everybody else is doing. Just be yourself. Be individual. Wear what you want to wear. Who fucking cares what everyone else is doing?
Grab Tindy?
Fuck it. If that makes sense to you, I guess. I'm not going to grab Tindy, but go ahead. Brandon has kind of like changed my perspective on it a little bit.
I'd say I more so put myself on an island for that topic.
All right, I like it. Okay, that was hot takes. Fun stuff.
Do we want to revisit the most underrated snowboard conversation?
Sure.
I don't know. Taylor, you got an opinion about being paid to snowboard versus being on? Have you ever been on contract?
Never.
You've never been on contract, really?
I've never been on contract.
You've been paid to snowboard, though, right?
Yeah, I've had support. I've been paid. I have not been paid consistently.
Yeah.
I've never been a professional snowboarder.
Yeah. Most underrated snowboarder right there.
What did you say when we were talking about cheddar bisque? You said something about the least amount of cheddar bisque.
Yeah, I was like, I think that Taylor and I might be the least paid snowboarders of all time ever to sit in here. Do we got a payroll list?
We don't. Unfortunately, it's not like the NFL where they list everybody's salaries and you know what people are making. So that's unconfirmed.
Yeah.
But hopefully we see a change in that.
Yeah. I think cheddar bis is like, yeah. What's your take on cheddar bis and snowboarding in your experience?
I think for me, because I've never been really paid to snowboard, like, obviously that's always been a dream. I think that's everyone's dream when they snowboard. It's like, it's a dream, right? You want to be supported. But I think because I haven't, like, I've always DIY'd this shit and I love it. And I do it for other reasons. Like, it's not for money. It's never been the end goal just because it felt so out of reach to me. And yeah, I think it's hard out there for anybody right now. Like, nobody's getting paid very much. But fuck the money. Who cares?
Yeah, let's go have some fun.
Yeah, who cares about the cheddar bisque? I mean, we all love cheddar bisque, but fuck it.
Another fucking wise bomb on the show by Tay. Love it. We all love cheddar bisque.
Yeah.
But fuck it.
Yeah, speaking of cheddar biscuits, myself, Taylor, and Riley have all we're taking over the real estate game. Yeah, I think I'm out in California. She's out here in Utah, and Riley's in Oregon. And, you know, we're gonna find the cheddar bisque on ourselves.
Fuck yeah.
So hit us up if you need any real estate help.
If you need a realtor, please call.
Slanging cribs.
Yeah.
In the words of Derek from Step Brothers, I got my real estate license a couple years back for shits and gigs.
Pretty much. Yeah. That's what it feels like. I'm still like when I'm negotiating, I'm like, I don't feel qualified to do this. And what the fuck am I doing?
We're trying to get clients here, Tay.
Sorry.
We're trying to get
Okay.
It's
I mean,
almost
as I
more
negotiate,
serious.
I feel so in my power. And no, I'm a great agent, and anyone will vouch for me.
That was amazing. Taylor is everyone's idol.
That's fucking amazing. Okay, we're going to start to wrap this thing up, but before we do, what's next for Tay?
What's next for Tay? I'm going to continue on my healing journey, selling some real estate, and hopefully snowboard again and work on this documentary. And, you know, I feel personally like my soul feels like I have big things on the horizon. I'm not quite sure what they are yet, but they're gonna come. Something cool.
Oh, yeah.
Something very cool.
Coming down the pipeline. Amazing. Before we wrap it up, do you want to throw out any thank yous?
I want to thank everyone in this room, first of all, Bombhole. I want to thank Brandon, my best friend, love of my life, soulmate. I want to thank anyone that's helped me get to where I am today. You know, every single person, there's too many names to name, but everyone in my life has made a huge impact on me, and I just appreciate everyone I'm surrounded by on a day-to-day basis. And I want to thank Millie, my dog, because she is so cute and smart and brave. And yeah, thank you. Just thank you for listening. Thank you for reaching out when you all have. Thank you for just being there, being my friend. Everybody, appreciate you.
That's it. That's been a hell of a show, Tay. Thank you for coming and sharing your story. Wow, what a special one it's been. So thank you. Thank you, Fancy.
Yeah, I feel lucky to be here. What a day.
You're natural. Co-card, the Tindy thing still up for debate, but I'm not going to hold it up. Silk D, thanks for doing what you do.
Thank you.
And everybody who listens and tunes in, we appreciate you guys so much, all of our sponsors. And over and out from the Bombhole.
Wow.